This is take 2 of Flosstube. I just recorded a video and I used one of those mics to try to make myself sound clearer. And I checked it again to make sure everything was fine and it wasn't on mute. But for some reason, it took the audio completely out of my whole video. Saw me talking, couldn't hear a damn word what you were saying. So this is the second take. I'm doing it with the dogs. We're doing it with what we have, best we can. That kind of symbolizes the end of 2025 going to 2026 with me. So hopefully your life is not as chaotic as mine has been. So welcome to the channel. My name is Jess. I'm Spring Healed Stitches, and I'm just going to talk about what I've been working on and my plans for the upcoming year, and hopefully finishing some projects and enjoying our time together. So hope you had a good time for the rest of the year. Like I said, I was hoping to come back and talk about what I was doing, finish up my WIPGO, and that was, 6 months later. I'm finally back talking about it. So I did finish up some stuff, and I have some plans of what I would like to accomplish in the new year, as well as restarting the WIPGO board, and maybe some plans for doing some pattern making in the new year as well. So I'm gonna shut the door because I can hear the dog in the hall chewing on his bone, and no one wants to hear that. My main goal this year is I kind of have a lot of smaller projects that are sitting in bags, kind of sad and neglected, and I feel like I want to concentrate a bunch on finishing small projects and starting small projects. Now for me, a small project is under 4,000 stitches. And this is my rationale behind that. You might think that that's not a small project, or that's even too small to be a small project. A small project for you might be 10,000 stitches. My idea is, for me, as a working person, doesn't get a chance to sit and sew for hours a day. If I can get 100 stitches in a day, and I can do 500 stitches a week, then I can get around 2,000 stitches a month, and then possibly 4,000 stitches in 2 months. So a small project could be completed in about 2 months, and then you could finish another one in 2 months. And then if you're trying to go for a completion, if that's your kind of goal, that you really enjoy the quantity of doing projects, whether you just like, the giddy, silly projects, you like making presents for people, you just enjoy doing smaller ones because big things are intimidating, it's kind of an easier goal. So for me, I have smaller ones that I feel just need my attention because they're kind of maybe neglected for the bigger projects, and I like to put attention to there. My other thing is I have a bunch of project bags, and because I'm focusing on a WIPGO project, or I want to finish something else because I'm fixated on that, it stays in the project bag. And then I'm like, well, I'd like to start a new project, but I don't have a place for it. Or I've bought materials for a new project and they're kind of just sitting, in a paper bag or something else. The goal is not to buy more project bags. So I'm not going to influence you to buy more project bags. So my idea is need to finish what's in the project bags to put new stuff in the project bags. So I've cleaned out at least 2 from 2025. My goal is to continue to do that. So putting the small projects in a project bag makes me focus on that. Now I have some bigger ones that are just almost too big for project bags, and so I don't have that problem. But so my goal is kind of go finish up these smaller projects, churn through stuff that I already have, and focus obviously on stuff that is kitted up. I know that's kind of, a lofty goal in the craft realm where everything is, shiny and new and you want to start something new, but it's what I'm going to focus on this year. I'm also going to try to focus on some pattern creation because I think of things that I maybe want to try doing. I know there's a lot of repeat motifs and stuff like that in the pattern world. So I don't want to try to do what other people are doing, but also something similar. So there's some fun quotes. I maybe want to try doing some patterns that are more geared towards the legal profession, because I work in a, I work in the law office, and I think there's some funny things I could go for. And maybe if you're, if you work with attorneys, work in the legal profession, it could be like a fun thing that you could do to make gifts. When I was looking around for Christmas presents this year, I saw, sorry, my voice is dry because I've already done this once. I saw some cool stuff, but I was kind of concerned because like a lot of it was on wine glass, like a lot of it were like funny phrases, but they were on wine glasses. I didn't really want to buy my staff a bunch of wine glasses to insinuate, like, isn't it funny that work drives us to drink? Because I didn't want to put that out there that I think you all drink because we all drive each other crazy. But could we put that funny phrase on something else or something like that with like a pattern on a cross-stitch keychain or something similar? So kind of putting those ideas in my head for something that I could design that could be marketable, but not necessarily like has to be super popular. Just something fun for me that I would want to stitch up. So those are kind of my plans. I'm going to do a quick little whip parade. I'm going to do something that's not on my WIPGO chart, and then I'm going to my WIPGO board, and then I'm going to do what's on my board, and then a couple of finishes. All right, so let's do the first thing. It's on my WIPGO. No, not on my WIPGO. Sorry, not on the WIPGO. And if you just unfortunately don't live in a cave and happen to be watching the news about the state of the world anywhere right now, you might know why I decided to focus on this one. So this one is almost done. I've shown off before. This is Punch Your Local Nazi, and this is by Studio Ansitru. I probably say that wrong every time, and I'm trying to be better, but I am myself. So this is about 300 stitches before it's finished. I'd like to finish this up and make it my first finish of 2026. So their art is pixel art. This one is about flower language. So all of these flowers have a different meaning. The meaning is mean. These are not flowers that say I love you. These are flowers that say I hate you. And it's fitting. I do enjoy this pattern because the outline of the flowers are a dark purple and vibrant blues. So it's a little bit different from just like a pixel art where it's a black or gray. So enjoy that. I've got a couple flowers that need to be finished. I did run out of some colors, so I had to wait for some to come. I had to order an extra color to come in, and I like to finish that one up. But definitely gonna finish that, hang it in a hoop, display it proudly. So let you know that Captain America and Dr. Indiana Jones would want you to do the same. Punch your local Nazis. It's on a fabric flare 14 count Aida. I'm not sure the color, but probably something from a collection using up what I had. And so it's Punch Your Local Nazis. They have amazing work in their collection. It is very similar in style where it's a pixel pattern. So they are pixel artists, and then they make bags and cross-stitch patterns. They are not on Etsy. They are on Big Cartel. So it's Studio, and I'm going to spell it out because I can't say it properly, Ansitru. That's on Big Cartel, so that's where you get their patterns, and you can also find them on social media for all of their stuff as well. So that's not a WIPGO, but it is a WIP project. So let me get the WIPGO board. Let me know in the comments if you're doing WIPGO this year. I'm doing WIPGO. Maybe we'll finish it. So, let me see. Let me get out my WIPGO chart. I keep it written just like this. So I pick a couple projects, I put them on the board. I don't do all 25. Some people do. I just pick a couple, and most of them, excuse me, are because I really do want to motivate myself to finish them. And I feel if I don't put them on a WIPGO board, I might not get that motivation. So I have a couple of them listed here. And some of them I kind of had a little different pick there on what I'm doing. So I have number 10 is finish a small project. Sorry, I have to take a drink. Again, this is round 2 of recording something. So a quick drink break. This video is not sponsored by Pepsi, but if they would like to, I'm opening to brand deals. So finish a small is basically finishing up a small project or finishing up thing that has something less than 4,000 stitches left on it, or maybe starting a small for some whimsy fun or a change of pace. I also have something just labeled Owl Project. I have a couple of Owl projects. I have some from the Stitch Crypt, another one from Lindy Stitches, Needle Lot Design. I have a couple of them just kind of in my folder, and I'm like, well, I should start one of them. And so if I land on one of those spaces, I'll start an Owl project. And then I have another one called Halloween or Christmas Wildcard. Same thing. If I land on any one of those numbers, I'll pick one of my patterns from my stashes for those holidays and start on those. So that's my WIPGO board. And how I do it is I'm on the WIPGO page on Facebook. They're also on Instagram. I do it from the 25th of the month when they call the number to the 25th of the next month. So it's still the 30 days. Some people wait till the first of the new month. I just do it on the 25th or whenever I feel like it's a good starting point for me. Obviously this year the 25th was December, so it was Christmas, so if you didn't have time to start it then, no biggie. It might have been busy. So I've actually done, this will be my 3rd year trying to WIPGO, trying to whip it. I've never been successful, and that's okay, because it's just about the journey. So this was my one from 2024, and this was my first one. I did finish projects on here, but I think I kind of bit off more than I can chew. I put way too, like, I decided I would do stitch counts instead of like days. So I would say like, I want 2 blocks of this or 2 pages of this big project. And I kind of got burnt out and not motivated. When a new number would come up, it'd be like, I don't want to work on that project because the goal is way too big and I just don't want to do it. So I kind of petered out there. So I did finish a couple of projects from, there's at least 4 projects here that I finished from 2024. And then I had 2025. I changed up my goals instead of actually saying amounts. I said we're just going to do days. So I said 7 days, work on a project 7 days. Doesn't matter if it's 7 days doing 50 stitches on it one day or 7 day or a day where you sit down and get 4 hours of stitching in. Not that that happens very frequently for me. So same thing. I got about 2 of these things completed in 2024, but right around September I kind of petered out and just said I didn't feel it, I wasn't feeling it, or I felt I'm really excited about working on one project and I don't want to put it down to pick up another one. I'd rather just finish this. So for 2026 I'm gonna keep the same thing where I go, it's 7 days to work on a project unless the call is to finish a start. So we'll see how that goes. And I feel like one thing is 7 days on a big project, can probably get that done. And then if it's like, oh, then I can devote the rest of the time to finishing that smaller project. So that's WIPGO 2026. Let me know if you WIPGO, if you've ever finished it. or if it's your first time. Does it work for you? Do you put 25 projects on it? Do you mix it up? I know some people do boards for all of their hobbies. I've seen people who have them for their knitting, their crochet, their diamond painting, all sorts of stuff, or they mix them all together. There are no rules, you know, the rules don't matter, the points are made up, so you can do whatever you like, but I'm curious to see what everyone does with their WIPGOs, but that one's mine. And the numbers we have are 2 and 7, so right here, there's not really bingo, they're not bingo, I mean, for me the goal is to finish the board. I'm not really playing bingo rules, so, but let me get number 7, which has been on the board for a while. It's been there since 2024. So this is the Fantasia Sal by Story Stitches, and I've been working on this for a while. The Sal is completed. It's been done for a while, and I've just kind of finally gotten past the intermission part of Fantasia. I finished up Mickey, and I finished up the Rite of Spring with little dinos here. And then I've gotten the soundtrack, and I'm now started into the Beethoven scene, the pastoral scene. This is fun, and I've kind of treated this piece as more of a learning mechanism to help me work on my stitching on linen. This is on a 32 count linen, so it's definitely a practice more of my linen stitching. But my struggle with this piece is that each of these blocks are around 1,100 stitches each. That's probably small bananas for people who have time to stitch many hours in the day. But for someone like me who can only really get the stitches in on the lunch break or after work, when all the chores are done, etc., depending on, like, you know, your mental load, that can be a lot to get a block done. And when they released this, I think it was like a block every 2 weeks. So I never was able to keep up pace. And when you're doing this, you're like, oh my gosh, it's 1,100 colors of the same thing. And like I mentioned before, if I'm only getting maybe 500 stitches a week, on a good week, then this is 2 weeks or maybe even more. So I'm working on it, but I really like to finish it because, I mean, we're more than through the halfway point. We just need to finish the rest of the blocks of the Pastoral Symphony, get to the last numbers, the Dance of the Hours, and then finish up Mickey's frame. It's a fairly simple piece, but I really enjoy the simplicity of the design. So I'm working on that. There are a lot of colors called for this. So one of my other blocks, stitching blocks with this is when I pick up a new piece or new block, it's going through and making sure I have all the colors, and do I have another color? Is it stuck in a kit somewhere? Do I have to go to the store and get it? A lot of this stuff is just kind of finishing the block with the colors I have, moving on to the next one and seeing what I can do with what I have. So again, it's been on here for 3 years, so maybe this will be the year it's finished, but this is the Fantasia Sal. I'd like to get at least maybe another block in before this is done, and who knows, it might get called again next month, so I might have to keep working on it. So that was number 7 for the month. And then number 2 is Pumpkin Harvest by Carolynn Manning, and it's on my new toy. So I finally bit the bullet and bought myself a Lowry stand. I've been having people tell me for many months that I should do it. It's great. It's fantastic. And I go, I just can't do it. It's a lot of money, and I just, you know, I have guilt. I don't know why. But I got a bonus, so, like, you know, Clark in the end of Christmas Story, I'm like, I'm gonna use my Christmas bonus. I didn't buy a pool, I bought a Lowry stand. So here is my Lowry stand. She's an olive green. She's a beaut, and I picked her up really quick, and I thought, okay, let me get, you know, I felt it was really easy to handle it, you know, learning curve, not that hard. Sorry, it actually is, to me, even though I'm a kind of short person, I kind of find it really short. But, I mean, it's workable. Right now I have it here in my office. I do have a stitching chair in my office. It is occupied by dogs 99% of the time. So right now it sits by my office by my desk chair, and that's where I sit and stitch on it. So right now it has Pumpkin Harvest by Carolyn Manning. Take it off the hoop and show it off. I started this in the fall season because I wanted something fall to do. This is on an even weave. I'm really enjoying working on the even weave, and I'm enjoying this piece as well. I really enjoyed working on the Halloween hijinks. Kind of bought a bunch of her patterns and started this one. I believe this was a newer release. I think she released this in either, I want to say 2024, maybe even 2025. But I really enjoy working on this. There's only 9 colors. It's all cotton DMC, so no fancy flosses. But this is really, you know, it's an ease. The patterns are simple, but not so simple that you kind of get bored with it. So right now I'm going to focus on just getting the whole border and frame done with these pumpkins. And then I'm going to go in, and there's the inside are kind of these little pumpkins and then these big pumpkins. So this is what one of the big pumpkins is. And there's 4 kind of big pumpkins in the mandala right there. So it's like a big pumpkin mandala. So that is my second call. And this one is just, it's just very, very satisfying to work on. So I'm enjoying working on that. No need for it to be fall. Even though I still have a pumpkin in my kitchen. So we grew pumpkins this year, and the vines went absolutely crazy as usual. But then we actually had a pumpkin grow mid-air, so it tangled up in our bushes and the fence and a bit of like the tomato cages, and it grew mid-air, so it was like perfectly round and cute. It was so cute. I finally had to, you know, put it in the compost so he can, you know, that's where he belongs. But it was so cute. I kept him all throughout Christmas because it was just like no spots. The squirrels didn't eat him, and I was like, I couldn't believe that it grew to at least the size of my big old head without the vine touching the ground. So that's the pumpkin harvest. Let's talk about some finishes. Newer finishes. So this first one is a small finish from the Spellbound Stitchery collection for bookmarks. They release a couple collections. They're charity collections where it's a group of stitchers who do a theme. And they've done bookmarks. They've also done stuff for Earth Day. I've seen marine collections. Really cool stuff. And if the theme is on your list, it's definitely a great cause to support. So I've bought 2 of them. I've bought the bookmark ones before because I really just like all the designs, and it's like 35 or 40 plus designers, and they ask you to do a donation of $15+ or more to the organizations that they're focusing on. So last year, 2 years ago, it was about literacy, and this year is about humanitarian and immigration aid. So this was one of the bookmarks. I dropped everything that I was working on. I wanted to work on this bookmark, and it fit very well because I was reading a book for my book club, The Last House on Beacon Street, which fit into this theme of horror, 80s, 90s, final girl. So this is by Gloomy Gremlin. They're the designer for this. I just really love the motifs. I love the cute pink, but not like overly bubblegum pink. And then I stitched this on black perforated paper, and then I finished it with some felt backing. I actually got the tutorial idea from Needle Lot Design, who showed off that in their social media of how they finished theirs. You could finish it with a blanket stitch as well, but I just kind of did a very small straight stitch, and that way it could hide my terrible straight stitching on the black, so you'd only have to look very, very close to see it. But you could also glue it, whatever you want. There's so many like interesting ways of doing it, but now you can never see my horrible back. Only I can know how horrible it was. But this is by the Spellbound Stitchery. they're not available now because it's only a limited time release, but check them out on social media. Bad Stitch is, I think, one of the folks who kind of do the main promotion of that stuff. So check out their social media for when they do a newer release, and they will do, you know, a theme of certain things. And it's a great deal. You get a bunch of cool patterns. You support a good cause. So the Final Girl bookmark, and there's a bunch of other cool ones that I definitely want to do in there. They have a Dracula one. They have a Nosferatu one from the previous collection. They have a really cool John Brown one that Stiach did, and I'm like, oh my god, that's amazing. I have to stitch it up. It looks amazing. It's like 30 dozen colors, but I don't care. I gotta stitch it up. So that was something that's also on my list. That'll be small project. That's a small project. Then let's see. Oh, actually, I remember, where did I put it in this little chaos behind me? So a finish for 2026 is a calendar. So this is Seasons 2 by Hand On Designs, and I started this. It was on my WIPGO board, and I've been working on this throughout the year, if you've seen me post about it. And I was going through, I didn't start it till March, so I didn't do the whole, like, let me finish January and January, etc., because I didn't trust myself. By working through it, and then right around, I brought it to work. It was another project that was in a project bag, so I'm like, need to finish it so I can give so this can be finished. I can give a project bag new life. That was my dog shaking the table where my iPad was, so it's not an earthquake. We're all good. So it was at work. I was working on it, and then I decided to bring it home during the Thanksgiving break, because I thought I'll have plenty of time to finish this up. I can totally finish this. But I was here in August when I brought it home, and I certainly did not finish it on Thanksgiving break. So I kept it at home. And then towards the end of the year, I said, I've got these 3 or 4 small projects. Maybe not so much small projects, but I really want to finish them, because I felt they kind of got left behind and neglected. So I started on this one, and I kept going. I'm like, okay, I can finish this. So definitely, like, right around Christmas, we hit the final block with December, and I finished this on New Year's Eve, and I'm like, gosh darn it, it's finished. So I started this calendar in 2025, and I finished it in 2025. And I really enjoyed it because it is seasonal. It's not overtly holiday. It expresses the seasons without having to be, you know, focusing on religious holidays or even so much secular holidays. I mean, at the most, probably the pumpkin and the turkeys and the bunnies. Maybe, like, you know, the clovers, but the clovers are also, you know, spring, etc. So I enjoyed the nature motifs. Everything is very symmetrical here. So when you're working on this, you're noticing the patterns. I'm trying to stop the dog from pacing, because he's gonna knock it. You're in my shot, okay? You're messing with the camera, Mo. So, I mean, really exciting to work on. There are instructions if you buy this piece from your local needlework shop, if you want to make the blocks, or if you want to make, like, you know, little pillows to put in your bag. But I just wanted to put this, it's not going to live on this scroll, on this bar. It was just there to kind of, after it was dried and washed. But I will frame it. But it was a calendar. It was a calendar finish for the year. So, all right, last piece was not a pattern. Oh wait, sorry. I got General Sherman on my shirt, so just to let you know why I'm wearing this shirt. like who is that on your shirt? So last piece was something I made. I put on my social media, and it's kind of the story of what's been happening this last couple months with AI coming in to our cross-stitching community, as well as our art community. Here comes the second dog knocking the camera. We're doing with what we can. We're doing what we can with what we have. So what was happening is people were commenting and seeing people coming in the cross-stitching community, making cross-stitch designs and using generative AI to create what looked like the finished pattern. Folks are coming into forums like Reddit and on Threads and Instagram saying, hey, I'm interested in buying this pattern. It looks cute, but I'm concerned with the quality because this picture looks Gen AI, of course, like, the question, is this AI? Is this AI? So people are looking and they're saying yes. So in this one case, I'm not going to say the pattern. I'm not going to say the pattern. I'm not going to say the pattern maker. They already kind of got their comeuppance for what they did. And I'm not going to give them a platform. But someone said, yeah, that picture is generative AI. They kind of like went back and said, I can't believe you guys are picking on me. I'm a small creator. And, there's so many other people who are, stealing crap and stuff like that. And they got their comeuppance because they said, but you're tricking people into buying in a pattern and they're not sure of what the finished piece is going to be. And yes, if you're selling a pattern for $6, I mean, yeah, you're not really robbing people of their life savings, but their time to create their pattern is more than $6. And God damn it, their trust in a product is well more than $6, especially if it turns out that the pattern that you created was crap. Let's just, we already know that the generative AI piece is crap. It's not what it's supposed to be. But if the pattern was crap, if it was, if it didn't look anything like it, if it was completely wrong, if it had, 500 different colors for a simple design, if it was crap, then that trust is, the loss of that trust is more expensive than the pattern is. So I was kind of just goofing around and, like I said, I wanted to try to make something. So I did this little very quick Stitchers Unite against AI Slop. And this font is weird and I just did it myself. And I stitched it up and I frogged it. And it's not centered, and, it's imperfect, because I am human, and I'm very imperfect, and it's not done with a robot, but it's free to have, and I'm going to put a link where you can download it, and you can change it, and you can put any sort of, little thing around it. You can embroider it, you can, put a border, whatever you'd like to do with it. It's just kind of my, statement to say the only thing we can do to fight against this is to, pick up our pencils, pick up our needles and thread, and create more art. And I think the hard part is that cross-stitch patterns, needlework in general patterns have been kind of fighting, art theft, pattern mills for years. People take art, they grab it, they put it into a generated pattern, they make a poor quality product, they put it out there, and people buy it, they stitch it, they get, frustrated and disheartened with it, they don't come back and cross-stitch. And now because of this whole thing, where not only, people are out there, people who have no experience with cross-stitch, just going and embroidery and needlepoint saying oh, look at this, just put this thing into, AI and you can make a pattern, some guy puts it here's this prompt where you can make a generated portrait of yourself embroidery and put it into AI. And it's okay, so you just made a digital picture of embroidery. What's the point? You can never recreate it. And you certainly can't make it a pattern because, it can try. It can try to make itself a pattern, but it's never going to be a pattern. It's just, it's madness. It's madness. So there's just, there's kind of all this chaos. We've been fighting off, pattern mills, people stealing art, people who have their stuff, in the recent times where people are They get their patterns or their projects taken like from Temu, like Temu and Shein and Alibaba will take a picture of someone's pattern that they're selling, like Witchy Stitcher or Night Spirit Studios or other people, other artists, and they'll be like, here, you can buy this like completed piece, and it's like a picture. It's like a picture of the pattern, and it's like, this is not, like, this is sowing distrust in consumers, and it's enraging creators who've already had to deal with many years of, you know, art theft and the undercutting of pattern mills, and now there's this grift, these people who can think they can come in and make cross stitch and needlepoint a new grift, and we're not here to be grifted. We're here to support each other. We're here to help people who want to get into this hobby, to support you, to help you find materials, to help you find patterns that you like. We're here to cheer you on when you have to frog something and redo it, because we don't want to tell you that you suck and that you should never pick up a needle again. We're here to tell you that's okay, and, you know, keep going, because it happens to everyone, because we're human. Because if we just wanted to make something perfect, we would just tell the computer to do it. But what's the point? The computer is just going to give us a picture that will never be able to be tangible, to be touched. And it's also just the absolute just bullshit thing is, if you have a pattern generating software, it will generate what it will look like. And I have bought patterns over the years many times where it's from a legit designer, and the pattern is just generated to be like, hey, I didn't get a test stitcher for this, but it's generated to look like this. Here's the pixelated version of the pattern. And that's okay. So I don't know why we have to take this second step to be like, let's make it generative AI so it clearly looks like it's not what it's supposed to be. So again, I just think this kind of grifting nonsense has absolutely no place in this community. And I think cross-stitchers, embroiderers, needlepoint artists, diamond painters, folks with knitting and crocheting, even though it might be seeming like mean, we got to stand up and say, like, this is not allowed, because if it's one person buying a pattern and getting ripped off for $5, it could snowball. And then does everyone think that people who are selling patterns online are all just grifters and just want your money, and that this artwork that we've done, that we are continuing through centuries, is just, is worthless? It's not worthless. And we're not going to let, these damn robots make it worthless. So Stitchers unite against AI Slop. Stabbers, fabric stabbers unite against AI Slop. I guess, machine fab, I'll put, our machine Stitchers, I thought, kind of covered everything. Stabbers can work too. No. So I'll put this up. There's lots of other great people online who are making free patterns as well, kind of talking about the same thing. You'll know a good pattern designer and a good pattern creator if you see a similar sentiment that is anti-AI on their websites and their social medias. Those are good people. So trust them to guide you, trust them to provide patterns that are worth your time to complete, trust their communities to give you the tips and tricks that you need. We're here to support you. Cross stitch, well, I will say, is easy in its sense. It's not easy like putting it into a prompt, okay? It's hard work because it makes a beautiful thing in the end, something that you will treasure and enjoy. And we want to enjoy that with you. So keep fighting the good fight. Pick up that needle, stab that fabric, unite against that AI slop, and take care of yourselves. I'll hopefully see you sooner rather than later. And hopefully you can hear me, and that the video, and that the microphone that betrayed me last time, you can hear me now. And take care of yourselves, guys. I'll see you next time.